Okay, sorry about that. For some reason, my video ended, so that'll just be part one. So this is part two. Outcast, the scum of the earth, mobilized his army and attacked the army of the Euphraim. He captured the fords of the Jordan behind the army of Euphraim, and whenever a fugitive from... I keep saying Euphraim. I don't know if that's what it's Ephraim. I don't really know exactly what that means. I'm not the best at reading, so as you can probably tell. So I'm just going to keep saying Euphraim. I'm probably saying that wrong, but, you know. And whenever a fugitive from Euphraim tried to cross the river, the Galaad guards changled him. I think that's the right word. "Are you a member of the tribe of Euphraim?" they asked. If the man replied that he was not, then they demanded, "Say Shabealith." But if he could not pronounce the H, he said Sibealith instead of whatever that is. He was dragged away and killed. So 42,000 people of Ephraim died there at the time. Jethan, I don't know these names, was Israel's judge for 6 years. At his death, he was buried in one of the cities of Galaad. The next judge was Ibnza. I'm just going to spell it out. Ibzan. Ibenzan. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Who lived in Bethlehem. He had 30 sons and 30 daughters. He married his daughters to 2 men outside his clan and brought in 30 girls to marry his sons. He judged Israel for 7 years before he died and was buried at Bethlehem. The next judge was Elon from Zebulun. He judged Israel for 10 years and was buried at Ijihal in Zebulun. Ooh, my phone almost dropped. Next was Aban, son of Hiel from Pyrithion. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons, who rode on 70 donkeys. He was Israel's judge for 8 years. Then he died and was buried in Parentheon in Ephraim, in the hill country of Amalekites. Once again, Israel sinned by worshipping other gods, so the Lord let them be conquered by the Philistines, who kept them in subjection for 40 years. Then one day the angel of the Lord appeared to the wife of Manoah of the tribe of Dan, who lived in the city of Zorah. She had no children, but the angel said to her, "Even though you have been barren so long, you will soon conceive and have a son. Don't drink any wine or beer, and don't eat any food that isn't kosher. Your son's hair must never be cut, for he shall be a Nazarite, a special servant of God, for the time of his birth, and he will begin to rescue Israel from the Philistines." The woman ran and told her husband, "A man from God appeared to me, and I think he must be an angel of the Lord, for he was almost too glorious to look at. I didn't ask where he was from, and he didn't tell me his name, but he told me, 'You are going to have a baby boy.' And he told me not to drink any wine or beer, and not to eat any food that isn't kosher, for the baby is going to be a Nazarite. He will be dedicated to God from the moment of his birth until the day of his death." Then Manoah prayed, "O Lord, please let this man from God come back to us again and give us more instructions about the child you are going to give us." The Lord answered his prayer, and the angel of God appeared once again to his wife as she was sitting in the field. But again she was alone. Manoah was not with her, so she quickly ran and found her husband and told him, "The same man is here again." Manoah ran back with his wife and asked, "Are you the man who talked to my wife the other day?" "Yes," he replied, "I am." So Manoah asked him, "Can you give us any special instructions about how we should raise the baby after he is born?" And the angel replied, "Be sure that your wife follows the instructions I gave her. She must not eat grapes or raisins or drink any wine or beer or eat anything that isn't kosher." Then Manoah said to the angel, "Please stay here until we can get you something to eat." "I'll stay," the angel replied, "but I'll not eat anything." However, if you wish to bring something, bring an offering to sacrifice to the Lord." Menhoa didn't yet realize that he was the angel of the Lord. Then Menhoa asked him for his name. "When all this comes true and the baby is born," he said to the angel, we will certainly want to tell everyone that you predicted it. Don't even ask my name," the angel replied, "for it is a secret." Then Menhoa took a young goat. Oops. Then Menhoa took and I don't think his name is Menhoa. I think I'm saying that wrong, but I'm trying, so, took a young goat, a grain offering, and offered it as a sacrifice to the Lord. And the angel did a strange and wonderful thing. For as the flames from the altar were leaping up towards the sky, and as Menhoa and his wife watched, the angel ascended into the fire, and Menhoa and his wife fell face downward to the ground, and that was the last they ever saw of him. It was then that Menhoa finally realized that it had been an angel of the Lord. "We will die," Menhoa cried out to his wife, "for we have seen God." But his wife said, "If the Lord were going to kill us, he wouldn't have accepted our burnt offerings and wouldn't have appeared to us and told us this wonderful thing and done these miracles." When her son was born, they named him Samson, and the Lord blessed him as he grew up. And the Spirit of the Lord began to excite him whenever he visited the party grounds of the army of the tribe of Dan, located between the cities of Zorah and Esihol. One day when Samson was in Tanah, he noticed a certain Palestine girl, and when he got home he told his father and mother that he wanted to marry her. They objected sternly. "Why don't you marry a Jewish girl?" they asked. "Why must you go and get a wife from these heathen Philistines? Isn't there one girl among all the people of Israel you could marry?" But Samson told his father, She is the one I want. Go get her for me." His father and his mother didn't realize that the Lord was behind the request, for God was setting a trap for the Philistines, who at the time were rulers of Israel. Sorry, my nose is running very badly right now. As Samson and his parents were going to Timnah, a young lion attacked Samson in the vineyard on the outskirts of the town. At that moment the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and since he had no weapon, he ripped the lion's jaw apart, and did it as easily as though it were a young goat. But he didn't tell his father or mother about it. Upon arriving at Timnah, he asked the girl, and he talked with the girl and found her to be just what he wanted. So the arrangements were made. When he returned for the wedding, he turned off the path to look at the carcass of the lion, and found a swarm of bees in it and some honey. He took some of the honey with him, eating as he went, and gave some of it to his father and mother. But he did not tell them where he had gotten it. As his father was making final arrangements for the marriage, Samson threw a party for 40 young men of the village, as was the custom of the day. When Samson asked if they would like to hear a riddle, they replied they would. "If you solve my riddle during these 7 days of the celebration," he said, "I will give you 30 plain robes and 30 fancy robes. But if you can't solve it, then you must give the robes to me." "All right," they agreed. "Let's hear it." This was the riddle. Food came out of the eater and sweetness from the strong. 3 days later, they were still trying to figure it out. Oh, sorry, my back hurts from the way that I'm sitting. My phone's still recording? Yes. Sweetness from 3 days later, they're still trying to figure it out. On the 4th day, they said to his new wife, "Get the answer from your husband, or we will burn down your father's house with you in it. Were we invited to this party just to make us poor? So Samson's wife broke down in tears before him and said, "You don't love me at all. You hate me, for you have told a riddle to my people, and you haven't told me an answer." "I haven't even told it to my father or mother. Why should I tell you?" he replied. So she cried whenever she was with him, and kept it up for the remainder of the celebration. At least on the seventh day, he told her the answer, and she of course gave the answer to the young man. So before the sunset of the seventh day, she gave him their reply. "What is sweeter than honey?" they asked, "and what is stronger than a lion? If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have found the answer to my riddle." He retorted. I think that's what it is. Retorted. Retorted. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went into the city of Ashkelon. Ashkelon. Ashkelon, I think. Oops, my phone's fallen. Sorry about that. Samson kills many enemies. Killed 30 men, took their clothing, and gave it to the young men who had told him the answer to his riddle. But he was furious about it and abandoned his wife and went back home to live with his father and mother. So his wife was married instead to the fellow who had been best man at Samson's wedding. Later on, during the wheat harvest, to his wife... Wait, what? Oh, Samson took a young goat as a present to his wife, intending to sleep with her, but her father wouldn't let him in. "I really thought you hated her," he explained, "so I married her to your best man. But look, her sister is prettier than she is. Marry her instead." Samson was furious. "You can't blame me for whatever happens now," he shouted. So he went out and caught 300 foxes and tied their tails together in pairs, with a torch between each pair. Then he lit the torch and let the foxes run through the fields of the Philistines, burning the grain to the ground along with all the sheaves and shocks of grain, and destroying the olive trees. "Who did this?" the Philistines demanded. "Samson," was the reply, "because his wife's father gave her to another man." So the Philistines came and got the girl and her father and burned them alive. "Now my vengeance will strike again," Samson vowed. So he attacked them with great fury and killed many of them. Then he went to live in a cave in the rock of Ephraim. The Philistines in turn sent a huge posse into Judah and raided Laiah. "Why have you come here?" the men of Judah asked. And the Philistines replied, to capture Samson, to do to him as he has done to us. So 3,000 men of Judah went down to get Samson at the cave in the rock of Etam. Etam. "What are you doing to us?" they demanded of him. "Don't you realize that the Philistines are our rulers?" But Samson replied, "I only paid them back for what they did to me. We have come to capture you and to take you to the Philistines," the men of Judah told him. "All right," Samson said, "but promise me that you won't kill me yourselves." Oh, okay, yeah. "No," they replied, we won't do that." So they tied him with 2 new ropes and led him away. As Samson and his captors arrived at Lethia, the Philistines shouted with glee. But then the strength of the Lord came upon Samson, and the ropes with which he was tied snapped like thread and fell from his wrists. Then he picked up a donkey's jawbone that was laying on the ground and killed 1,000 Philistines with it. Tossing away the jawbone, he remarked, "Heaps upon heaps, all with a donkey's jaw. I've killed 1,000 men, all with a donkey's jaw." The place has been called Jawbone Hill ever since. But now he was very thirsty, and he prayed to the Lord and said, "You have given Israel such a wonderful deliverance through me today. Must I now die of thirst and fall to the mercy of these heathen?" So the Lord caused water to gush out from a hollow in the ground, and Samson's spirit was received as he drank. Then he named the place the spring of the man who prayed. And the spirit... Wait, what? Oh, sorry. The spring of the man who prayed, and the spring is still there today. Samson was Israel's judge for the next 20 years, but the Philistines still controlled the land. Controlled the land. One day Samson went into the Philistine city of Gaza and spent the night with a prostitute. Word soon spread that he had been seen in the city, so the police were alerted, and many men of the city lay in wait all night at the city gate to capture him if he tried to leave. In the morning they thought, when there is enough light, we'll find him and kill him. Samson stayed in the bed with the girl until the midnight, then went out to the city gates and lifted them with 2 gate posts right out of the ground. He put them on his shoulders and carried them to the top of the mountain across from Hebron. Later on, he fell in love with a girl. Did I skip a bit? No, yeah. Okay. He fell in love with a girl named Delilah over in the valley of Sorek. The 5 heads of the Philistine nations were personally to her and demanded that she find out from Samson what made him so strong, so that they would know how to overpower and subdue him and put him in chains. Okay, so I've read 4 pages. I think that's all I'm going to read for today. It is kind of looking a little bit like it might rain. I hope it doesn't, but I'm going to be on my way back to my crib right now just because I don't want to get in the middle of that and have it start raining on me. But I'm hoping today I should be able to record some videos, like maybe, a gaming video, but I'm not too sure. This will be into 2 videos, the first one and this second one right here, so I'll post that. And again, I do not know fully if I'm supposed to take all these stories literally. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if all this did happen. We do have proof for a lot of this. We do have proof about the golden chariots at the bottom of the sea, of the Red Sea at least. I don't know if they were golden, but we have chariots at the bottom of the Red Sea. Conveniently, and probably not maybe the exact same place because we don't exactly know where it was at, but in the place where it was described at in the Bible, we have chariots at the bottom of the Red Sea, and they're not even just at like the shore. They're in like the middle of it, like they were crossing the Red Sea, and suddenly they got swarmed with water. We have a mountain that is in the exact same place where Moses was talking to God while he was the pillar of fire, and that whole mountain, you can look up pictures, is scorched black. And, it's kind of funny. Whenever I do, show this proof to people, they literally just either don't say anything or they just write it off as me just being stupid, which they don't ever give me a reason onto why it doesn't exist, even though we have pictures and we have evidence of it. And I do think those people just don't want to admit to it, and that's fine. You don't have to. God gave us free will. You don't have to believe in God, okay? You don't. But I just want all y'all to know, if you do believe in God or if you don't, no matter what happens in this world, God will always be there waiting for you. God is not the God of anger. He is a God of love, I do believe, at least in my opinion. And I do feel like God is always waiting for all of us to turn back to him. So just, if you feel like you have nobody in this world, if you feel like your lifestyle isn't working out, turn to God. Try your hardest to open up your heart to God and see how it works out for you. If it doesn't work, fine, I'm sorry. If it does, I'm very happy for you. I know it's working on me. And obviously, I still struggle with sin every single day. I'm struggling with a lot of sin, and it's hard for me. But I grew up in this sin. I grew up not realizing that it was bad, and it's taken over my life. But I'm getting better. I am getting better, and I'm happy to say that. I'm getting a little bit better at sin, and it's honestly, I think it's all because of God, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's how it is. So for me, I'm going to continue to preach the good news. I'm going to try my hardest to show people that God can change you no matter who you are, because I do truly believe that. So again, don't take this out of context and don't think that God is harsh and he hates humanity, because I do not believe that. I think certain things had to happen back in these days for whatever reason. I do not know, honestly. I'm not going to lie and say I know exactly why all this happened. I don't. but I know God's perception of time and death is very different from ours. So, and that would make sense. If there is a God, that would make sense that his thing is different than ours because he doesn't live in the same world that we do. But I do think God is a very good God. I think God is the good Father. I think Jesus Christ is our King. I do think that he is the Son of God. And I hope, honestly, I do wish that we had more proof, but you have to kind of find it. God's not going to give us all full proof, and I explained that in one of my early videos, that's just not going to happen. But again, try to get right with God right now, because we don't know when those last days can happen. They can happen any day. And I don't really know what's going to happen in those last days. I don't know if we're going to get beamed up into the sky. I don't know if it's going to be the devil coming out himself. I do not know. But I do know, clearly, if you look around the world, we're definitely going into some bad stuff. So just try to get right with God right now. If you don't believe in God, still, I love you. You should love other people no matter what they believe. And just try to be a good person, Just try your hardest to be a good person. So I love you all. Thank you so much for watching this video. God bless you all, and go outside if you have the chance. Peace out.